So I did want to quickly touch on the fact of the design point of this project was to have one box that holds the Raspberry Pi, which is this one with the square corner on it, and then another box that basically you can plug these into the side of that box and start gaming with your friends. So you can, have 4 of these plugged in, so you can do 4-player. And I'd like to do like, a red, a blue, green, a yellow, or something like that. But anyway, on this one, I have the cord loop back on itself right now. I don't like that. I'm going to try to solder that on the inside. But yeah, the basic idea is that, everything you need to do some retro gaming is right here, because building a cabinet can be difficult, and I understand that. So this gives you a little bit more options if you don't want to build a full-size cabinet. Okay, so on your computer, the first thing you want to do is go to retropie.org.uk, and once you're there, go to download, click Raspberry Pi 2/3 and start your download. This is going to download an image file. Meanwhile, go to etcher.io and download Etcher for your system. Okay, so now you have your image file. You're going to want to extract that. So go ahead and click extract to here. Let that fully extract. And once that's done, you're going to have a folder with your image file inside of it. So then what you're going to do is open Etcher after you've installed that. That's the way we're going to put the image file onto the SD card. So go ahead and open that up, bring it over, click select image and locate your image file that we just extracted. Click on that and go to your correct device for your SD card. And then when you're ready, just hit flash. Okay, so a little overview of what all goes into this. Basically, you have a Raspberry Pi, and that's going to run Retropie and Emulation Station that are going to run your ROMs. This is going to be your computer, your interface, and everything like that. Now, to get something to communicate with the Pi for your joystick and buttons, we use a zero delay. They call it a zero delay USB interface. So someone made this board, and when you plug in inputs to these buttons here, and then plug a USB port into the Raspberry Pi, it basically just works. It works as a gamepad controller, and you have access to all your buttons. You can map however you want. So that's basically how that works. So in the kit that I bought, I got a zero delay USB interface, a joystick, and it has a 5-pin connector on it for this board. I got 8 30mm buttons and 2 of the smaller buttons typically used for select and start. And that's it. That's really all you need. So I just wanted to give a little overview of what this project all entails. This is kind of what the top cutout looks like. And then this is your base. So in the end, you have something like this. So once you have the 2 parts printed, the top here and the bottom of the case, I'll show you how to assemble some of this stuff. I used a kit called Easy Get after on Amazon, and I've been really happy with the buttons, the joysticks, and I would recommend that. I guess I don't have any affiliation with them, but I'll leave a link in the description down below. So this side piece here has been designed for Raspberry Pi 3. I didn't realize that the two, it's very minimal, but you can see there's less of these flaps around the USB ports on the Raspberry Pi 3 that I have. I tried putting a spare 2 I had around into this, and you struggle a bit. I would recommend, if any of you guys you're going to use a 2, you could just knock out this centerpiece here. This one is actually okay still, but you can just pull that apart with the pliers. But you might as well get a 3 nowadays if you're buying a new one anyway, just because they're so much higher performing, and it'll fit this case just nicely. So this is all meant to be kind of a just snap in here. So what I like to do is feed this side in, and then basically just kind of wiggle it and push it right into place. So you can see the ports right there and right there, and then you have 4 standoffs that we're going to put some socket screws in. So these are 2.5 M2.5 screws. So I'm going to use 2 of these right here just to show you, or 4 of them. These go right into the corner, and these should basically just thread right into that plastic. I didn't drill these out anymore or anything. I just thread it right into the plastic. I sized the inside of the inside diameter of those standoffs to be just small enough that the threads on these kind of bite into it and hold into it, which is kind of nice. That way you don't need any extra tools or taps or anything like that. So you put all 4 in like that, and then the next thing you're going to have are buttons. I should say you can put your 0 delay board in right away too if you want. This is what mine looks like. I think some of them don't have this USB-B port on them, but the one that came with my kit did come with them, so I mount that in here like so. And I actually do use a USB cable. It did come with the kit to plug that in right here. You're going to notice that there's a problem. There was a design decision that I had to make when I was designing this, and that is, I want all access to these ports on the outside, because then from this 0 delay board I have to run the cord out and around and back in. It just doesn't look very nice. But what I think I'm going to do is just solder directly to these connections down here, and hook up this one that way, and then all exterior joy pads that you want to hook up to this, you could hook up like that. So anyway, these are M3s. So M3 by I think 6 is the perfect size for this one. So let's check that out. And the same thing with this. No need to pre-thread that or anything. These just thread right into standoffs. Find a nice fit. Okay, so you're going to do that for all 4 of them. The next thing you need to be prepared for are these buttons. We've got, there's a little, it looks like a I don't even want to call it a ramen bowl or something here. And this is how you're going to determine which leads to hook up. So I hook these up so that they're always illuminated. These are illuminated push buttons. You can do this with unilluminated push buttons, but it looks really cool if you get the illuminated ones. And it can all be powered off the Pi, so no need to worry about current consumption there. So let me just double check here. I think. Okay, so if you got the ramen bowl, technical term, if you have a ramen bowl facing up, you have these 4 wires here. You got to have the yellow on this pin here. So I put, okay, let's start over. I put the ramen bowl facing straight up. So you can get your fresh bowl of ramen, and put the yellow on the top left, put the red on the lower left, and then the 2 ground leads you can just put in any order you want on the right and left side. So it can be this little jumper one, and you just put it right like this. Okay, so that's a completed button. So you can do that with all 8 of your buttons, and I will fast forward through this. Okay, so I have my buttons all wired now. The next thing I want to do is put this joystick in, and the way I like to do it is have this, I think this direction is up by default, so I just pop this in here, and there's a cutout, so this should just push right into the backing of the top housing there. So that fit right in. Now these are countersunk holes for M4 socket head screws. So we just keep going a little bit bigger and bigger each time. So I'll fast forward through this as well here. Okay, so that was a little bit difficult, but what I love about it is that they're nice and flush when they're done. I just put a nut on the back to hold each of those in place, and yeah, basically that's how that goes on there. So they have these awesome little joystick balls that go on the top, and you can thread that on there. Now in the back, this will just rotate. So in the back they have just a flathead screwdriver, and you just tighten her up like that, and then there you go. You have your joystick, which is awesome. Oh, I did forget one thing. You should have put that dust thing on it. Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Put that right on top. Together. Okay, so that part's done. Let's add some buttons. Just thread a button right through there like this. Pop that in. Make sure it's perfectly flush. Boom. So, when you're playing, the reason I have the layout I do is kind of right here, you can hit these 2 buttons with your joystick hand. And here, you can like hotkey here, and boom, get your load state back. Point with your thumb. I don't know, it works for me. anyway, now we have to start plugging these in, and really it couldn't be any simpler. So all you got to do is start near, let's see, I got this one started. Start here. So this will be your first plug-in spot, and that will be, I think, key number 0 on Raspberry Pi. So I like to start with like this guy here. It doesn't really matter. You can map these however you want, but I'm going to try to be somewhat consistent. So like 0, 1, and kind of move in that direction. Those just pop right in, and that's really all there is to it for the wiring. You're all wired up. Well, yep. You got your joystick. Sorry, forgot about that. This one does not go here. It goes at the end of the board. So, like that. Okay, so there you go. That's all the wiring and button putting togetherage. So here now, I tried to make this so that you don't need a whole lot other than this kit and some plastic. I made these snaps here, and this whole thing's gonna do 180. Whoop. A little bit of tanglage there, but oh, did I map this all the wrong way? No. Okay. So these kind of just snap into these grooves, and if you want to take it apart, they just unsnap. So, like I said, the bad thing about this, if we want to just try it out, which I'll show you, what we have to do is plug in the USB here. It's a tight fit, but it should work. And route it right up through this little hole. This back snap goes in, and then the front snap, boom, snaps right in. Nice seal across all the sides. You can kind of push together a little bit, but that ain't going anywhere, which is sweet. And then if you do want to open it back up, you just kind of pry it open again a little bit. But anyway, pretty much have it right there. I'll cut to a video of me plugging it in and show you how to use it. Okay, so once you get everything powered up, this screen will either pop up, or if you've already configured a keyboard or something, you'll have to get back to configure input, and then it'll ask you to hold a button on your device, and if you hold it, it'll bring you to this screen, and you can do the following combinations for everything. So I'm going to do that up, down, left, right, start, select. This stuff's up to you here. A, B, X, Y, left, right. And then if you don't have basically one, like I don't have anything for left trigger, you just hold any button and it'll skip that definition. So we don't have left thumbs, right thumbs, that kind of thing. And hotkey, you can, put whatever you want. I'm gonna put this right now. And then, okay. Start. Okay, so now you should be able to play around. Obviously, I don't have anything loaded yet. I'll show you how to load some ROMs in just a sec over on the computer. And then I'll come back and show you some retroarch stuff. To load ROMs onto your Raspberry Pi, you're going to need an interface to communicate with your Raspberry Pi. So the first thing you're going to have to do is set up your Wi-Fi on your Raspberry Pi. It's under the Retropie configuration menu. If you click on that and
it'll guide you through that to set up your Wi-Fi for your Pi. Once your Wi-Fi is set up, take note of your IP address. There's a bunch of videos out there on how to figure that out, and I think there's also something that shows you right within the configuration menu. Write that down, take note of it, and then head over to a Windows computer that has that is on the same network and that has WinSCP installed. So you're going to want to load up WinSCP. Once you load that up, you're going to type in your IP address under hostname, username, put Pi. Type in Raspberry for the password, and you will load into this Retropie folder on the right hand side. In there you'll see ROMs, and you'll see a bunch of different systems here. So you got Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, NES, MAME, all kinds of stuff. You drop your ROMs into these folders. So I drop mine into the MAME lib retro folder, not the 2003, but right here in the MAME. So I drop Gauntlet in there just to give you an example, and that sends it over through Wi-Fi to the Pi. Once you do that, you're all set, and you can add any other ROMs that you would like in this same way.
Okay, so back on the Pi side, we are going to want to do a reset, a restart. Yes, really restart. So, I apologize, I don't have a nice screen capture card. If you guys want more of this kind of thing, send me one or something. That'd be cool. And I'll do some more tutorials without videotaping my monitor, because it's lame and it's hard to see. I did look into like record my desktop on Linux. Wasn't working that great, frustrating, trying to get the videos. It was just like, you know what, I'm just taking video of my screen, sorry. So it gets the job done. But anyway, okay, so we did drop a game in here. So once you drop a game in to those folders, you will be able to see it on your main menu screen here. You could drop it into any of those folders for any games you have. Obviously, I can't tell you where to get games. You can extract games if you own them and do it that way as well. But put your ROMs into those folders. Let's jump in here and let's load this up. So you'll see this little pre-screen here. There's a way to get that to shut off. I can show you that in another video too if you guys are interested. But okay, so here we go. There's this. Now I know that I have to open up the RetroArch menu to program all the buttons for this. So there's a bunch of different ways to program buttons, and I used to do it the old-fashioned way, which was like manually type into a config file, and then do that on the Pi through the command line. And this is just so much easier. Dropping your ROMs in, loading up the emulator, and then so what you do is you hotkey, and I think it's hotkey X. Nope, I just reset it. Hotkey. Okay, so one of these buttons will be your hotkey. Apologize, I'm not looking at this here. One of these buttons will be your hotkey. I had signed it to this button here, and then one of the other combinations of buttons will open your menu. And once you get into this menu, this is where all the magic's at. So what you're going to want to do is go into settings and input, and in here you can do your user 1 binds, 2-player binds, 3-player binds, and set up all your hotkeys. So what I recommend you do first is just go to user 1 binds, and in here the wonderful people at Retropie have been working hard to give us all these awesome menus like bind default all or bind all. So I'm going to do bind all, and what that's just going to do is going to give me 4 seconds on each of these buttons to hit the button that I want for what they're saying. And they even do some really nice things like, oh, up on the D-pad, left on the D-pad, and the 4 buttons, see they have like right, left, up, down, to kind of tell you what a traditional like Super Nintendo controller would look like. And so you just kind of mimic those. And there's no right way to do this, you guys. You can, you know, program this to do whatever you want. And that's kind of the magic of this. It's super custom. And what I'd recommend is once you get it set up the way you want, it actually came with these little stickers. And so you could put, there's like, this is player 4 sticker. They have like one that says coin, you know, they got A, B, X, Y. And you just take that button apart and you put that on underneath, and then you're pretty much good to go. And then all your buttons will be labeled, which is awesome. So we'll go back into bind all. I'll go B, which would be down, Y is left, select, start, up, down, left, right, X, left, right, and then I'm just going to let the rest of these time out because I don't want to use them. Okay, so now we're done with that. You can back out of here, and I recommend going to input hotkey binds. This is the fun stuff. So you can have a button for fast forward. You can have one for load state and save state, which I recommend. So load state, I like to make this button on the right because it's so easy to just hit and load right back into your state. So I'm going to say, yep, load state, boom, and it just assigned it to that. So let's do a save state. Let's do like that, sure. Yep, those are good. Rewind, okay. Oh yeah, by the way, rewind is awesome. It lets you rewind the gameplay instead of having to load and save states, which is kind of nice and easy. And then make sure you get the enable hotkeys button assigned correctly. And then your menu toggle button. Okay, so if you want rewind to work, you have to go into frame throttle, rewind, and rewind enable on, okay? Some of these games get a little bit insane, and what it's actually doing is like recording your game in the background so that you can always rewind it, and there's a buffer to that, so you can't like do it forever. But if you notice your gameplay is slow, just turn this back off. But I'll turn it on right for now to show you guys. And when you're done doing all this, what you want to do is go back one more, go to configurations, and save current configuration. You'll see some little yellow text on the lower left hand side, and that is magical because you used to have to do all these difficult things, and now you can do it right within the menu. I don't know how long it's been like this, but I was doing this stuff a while back, and I feel like the only way it used to be to manually edit it through like something like Putty. But anyway, we'll back out of here. We'll shut the menu off, and I'm gonna put in a couple coins, hit start, and we've got some sweet maimage going on here. So you can see the controls here. Sally, I can't try to, so you can see both of these things at the same time here. Okay, so I can't have a magic potion, but you know, chucking axes, that's good. Get rid of these ghosts, you know, nobody wants those ghosts. So anyway, that's how you set this stuff up. And really, from here on out, it just gets crazy. I mean, you can add custom artwork, so many cool things. But, you know, the whole point, I guess, is just to have fun and just enjoy some of these old cool games. So yeah. So I figured I'd include this. I went ahead and did the soldering of the USB. So you've got 4 pins, and I chose to put it in the player 1 USB port, which is the upper left closest to the Ethernet. And you can see here that the red goes to the farthest left, then white, then green, then black. I believe it's positive 5 volts, minus data, positive data, and then ground. Might have the data's mixed. Let me check. Yep, it's positive 5, negative data, positive data, and ground. And here you can see that we got everything working appropriately. So yeah, that'll be great.
Sweetheart, hello, hello again.